Well, the very thing that those who are outside of the Hollywood industry, that are in our community, that see the challenges that we deal with every day as a people. We work twice as hard to get, twice as less. We're not valued the way I believe we're supposed to be valued. The real deal is we don't own any platforms the way we should.
Y'all remember 1993? Menace II Society just dropped, and there was this unknown cat named Larenz Tate who absolutely crushed it as O-Dog. I'm talking scene-stealing, jaw-dropping, who the hell is this guy kind of performance. Fast forward 4 years, dude's got every woman in America swooning over his poetry in Love Jones. Man was smooth, then poof, gone. By 2005, you could barely find this brother in a major film if you tried. No scandals, no arrests, no meltdowns, just vanished. What happened to one of Hollywood's most promising black leading men? Well, Katt Williams tried to warn us for years about this exact situation, and what he revealed about Larenz Tate's mysterious disappearance is about to blow your mind. Let me paint you a picture. It's the early 90s, and Larenz Tate was absolutely unstoppable. This young brother from Chicago's West Side had everything, and I mean everything, that Hollywood claimed they wanted. Raw talent, check. Undeniable charisma, double check. That rare ability to completely transform on screen, triple check. Born September 8, 1975, Larenz was the baby of 3 brothers. When his family packed up and moved to California in '84, his parents got all the boys into this drama program at the Inner City Cultural Center. Now let's be real, these boys weren't thinking about Shakespeare. They were trying to meet some girls. Chuckle. But everything changed when their classmate Malcolm Jamal Warner landed that role as Theo on The Cosby Show. Suddenly, acting wasn't just about meeting girls anymore, this was business. By 1985, little 10-year-old Larenz was already making his debut on The Twilight Zone. Then came 21 Jump Street, The Wonder Years, Family Matters, where he played Steve Urkel's nemesis, Willie Fuffner. But y'all, these were just warm-ups for what was about to happen. The Hughes brothers came knocking, and they wanted Larenz for their debut feature, Menace II Society. His portrayal of O-Dog, that trigger-happy teenager with absolutely zero conscience, was magnetic. I'm talking about a performance so good that critics didn't know what hit them. Frederick Douglass from the Baltimore Black American called it instant classic material, and he wasn't lying. You could see something dangerous lurking behind O-Dog's eyes, something that didn't reveal itself until you crossed him. Larenz wasn't just acting, he was channeling something real and terrifying. But here's what separated Larenz from the pack. This brother had range. The inkwell showed he could be your romantic leading man. Dead Presidents proved he could carry a heavy Vietnam drama. Then 1997 hit us with Love Jones, and ladies, pause for effect, y'all were done. That poetry scene where Darius recites A Blues for Nina, man, that wasn't just acting, that was pure magic. Larenz wasn't just playing a character, he was embodying the smooth, intellectual, artistic black man that Hollywood rarely put on screen. Women were in a complete chokehold, and men respected him because he represented something different, something real. By the late 90s, this brother was positioned to be our generation's Denzel Washington. He had the talent, the look, the versatility, and most importantly, he was clean. No scandals, no drama, no embarrassing headlines. Pure black excellence in every single project. Studios should have been throwing leading man roles at him left, right, and center. But something strange was about to happen. Something that would change everything. Now here's where things get absolutely bizarre. After Love Jones, Larenz should have been Hollywood's golden boy. Instead, he started fading into the background in the most mysterious way possible. Listen, we've all seen Hollywood careers crash and burn. Usually there's a reason: drugs, legal trouble, public meltdowns, box office bombs, something that explains why the phone stops ringing. But with Larenz, nothing. No scandals, no arrests, no breakdowns. This man remained the same professional, talented, respected actor he'd always been. Yet somehow, and this is the crazy part, major studio roles just started disappearing. Let's look at the timeline because this is where it gets suspicious. Post 97, Larenz appeared in Why Do Fools Fall in Love, Love, Come Down, A Man Apart, Crash. But notice something, most of these were supporting roles or smaller budget productions. Those big studio leading man opportunities that should have come flooding in after Love Jones, they just never materialized. We work twice as hard to get twice as less. We're not valued the way I believe we're supposed to be valued. That's Larenz himself speaking on the industry. By the 2000s, this brother was mostly doing ensemble pieces or television work. Don't get me wrong, he was still delivering phenomenal performances whenever he got the chance. His work in Crash was incredible. But something was clearly different. This man had proven he could open movies, had serious acting chops, and a devoted fan base. Yet he was being systematically excluded from major Hollywood productions. And here's the most telling part. Larenz hinted this wasn't career failure, it was a conscious choice. He said things like, "I placed a different value upon myself than I felt people in Hollywood placed on me." He mentioned not doing some of the same things that they wanted me to do. Y'all hear that? Larenz didn't fall off. He walked away, but walked away from what exactly? What was Hollywood asking him to do that he refused? Enter Katt Williams, our reluctant prophet of Hollywood's hidden truths. For years, Katt has been trying to warn us about what really goes down behind those studio doors, and everybody thought he was crazy until they realized he wasn't. Katt's theory is straightforward but chilling. Hollywood doesn't like the real ones. It's the fakes, the gatekeepers, the puppets that really thrive.
Where those numbers go. We're glad that those numbers are being paid to the comedy community because they don't pay those dollars unless you're actually paying the bills. And horror is not what Hollywood is built on.
But those with morals and principles, they get tossed aside. But here's where Katt drops the real bombshell. He claims that before anyone reaches major Hollywood success, they have to pass certain tests. And these aren't acting tests, y'all. These are submission tests. Humiliation rituals designed to see if you can be controlled. A ritual is something that you do over and over again a certain way.
Ritual is something that you do over and over and over again a certain way. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. If part of the ritual is wearing a dress, then we should be able to look through entertainment and see all of these people being made to wear a dress.
If part of the ritual is wearing a dress, then we should be able to look through entertainment and see all these people being made to wear a dress. Now, before you roll your eyes, listen to how Katt breaks it down. Show me one person that ever wore a dress in Hollywood unsuccessfully. Think about that for a second. Dave Chappelle talked about this exact thing. Producers tried to pressure him into wearing a dress for a scene that didn't even require it. When he refused, suddenly everyone started acting strange. Eventually, Dave walked away from a $50 million deal with Comedy Central. Coincidence? Katt doesn't think so. According to Katt, the purpose of these rituals is simple: humiliation and control. Before you get through that final door, there's always some moment where they want to make you do something that crosses your line. Something you'd never do if you had real power. And once you do it, they own you forever. Here's what makes Katt's theory so terrifying. The evidence keeps backing him up. Kevin Hart famously said he'd never wear a dress. Then he did. Career exploded afterward. Will Smith slapped Chris Rock at the Oscars. Public humiliation on the biggest stage. John Cena presented at the Oscars wearing nothing but an envelope. But here's the part that connects to Larenz. Katt claims that when actors refuse to participate in these rituals, they get quietly blacklisted. Not dramatically. That would draw attention. Just professionally erased. And according to Katt, that's exactly what happened to Larenz Tate. Based on industry whispers and Larenz's own statements, it's pretty clear he was offered certain opportunities that he just wasn't comfortable with. First, sources suggest Larenz consistently turned down stereotypical urban roles after Love Jones. You know the drill. Dealers, gang members, deadbeat fathers. The same tired tropes Hollywood loves because they're safe and don't challenge power structures. But here's where it gets specific. Multiple sources suggest Larenz was approached about dress-wearing roles and flat out refused. Remember what Katt said, "Show me one person that ever wore a dress in Hollywood unsuccessfully." Martin Lawrence, Eddie Murphy, Tyler Perry, Flip Wilson, Jamie Foxx, all wore dresses in major productions, all had massive success afterward. But Larenz, he reportedly said no, and his career path changed immediately. Here's the brutal reality Katt Williams has been trying to tell us. Hollywood has always had a cap on how many respectable black men can be in the spotlight at the same time. They'll elevate one, give him the Oscar, the prestigious roles, the long career, but the rest, they need to stay in their lane as sidekicks or stereotypes. Meanwhile, studios throw money at actors playing the same urban trauma characters over and over. Why? Because Hollywood is comfortable with black pain. It doesn't threaten anyone. It doesn't make white audiences uncomfortable. It confirms existing stereotypes rather than challenging them.
Standards, one black, one white, and we have to leave Eddie. I always say this, with no offense to Eddie, but Eddie is not considered black per se, it's Hollywood is. Because we're black, we don't have a broad appeal, so therefore, they don't want to be exposed as much financially as they would for JFK and Elvis.
But Larenz represented something dangerous. In Love Jones, he was an intellectual, artistic, successful black man who wrote poetry and worked at a magazine. He wasn't a gangster or comedian or sidekick. He was a complex, three-dimensional character showing black excellence without apology. And that made certain people very uncomfortable. Hollywood has been lying to black actors for decades, telling them they don't have international appeal to justify paying them less.
The real deal is we don't own any platforms the way we should.
But Larenz discovered firsthand that black artists are hugely popular worldwide. Hollywood just doesn't want to pay what they're worth. That's calling out the business model. That's exposing exactly how the system profits from undervaluation. And Hollywood executives do not like being called out like that. So how exactly does Hollywood destroy someone like Larenz Tate without creating a scandal? It's simple and absolutely brutal. They don't do anything dramatic. No public confrontations, no leaked stories, no smear campaigns. They simply stop calling. Major casting directors stop considering him for leading roles. His agent stops getting offers for big budget productions. Entertainment media stops writing profiles. Award shows stop inviting him as a presenter. He just gradually fades from the Hollywood conversation. But here's the real insidious part. They use financial pressure to force compromise. By 2014, Larenz was facing lawsuits over unpaid bills. When major roles dry up, bills don't stop coming. That's exactly what happened when Larenz joined power. He admitted publicly that he worked for peanuts and that his agent opposed the decision, calling it career death. But Larenz took the role anyway because he believed in the project and needed the work. It's psychological warfare. Exclude you from major opportunities until you're financially desperate, then offer you low-paying roles your team advises against. If you take them, you look desperate. If you don't, you have no income. Meanwhile, the media stays silent. No entertainment reporters investigate why this tremendously talented actor suddenly stopped getting major roles. Everyone just pretends it's normal career fluctuation.
We've taken the reins. We've been able to do so much, and we've made y'all a lot of money. 10 times, 100 times over in a real way. But also the consumers, black communities, black people support all movies.
The same pattern happened to Monique after she called out pay disparities, complete exclusion for years. Taraji P. Henson spoke about similar experiences. The message is crystal clear. This is what happens when you don't play the game. But here's what makes Larenz's story inspiring. He never compromised his values, even facing financial pressure, even watching his career get destroyed. He maintained his dignity and artistic integrity. That's why Katt Williams calls him one of the real ones. When Hollywood tested Larenz Tate's character, he passed with flying colors. The price was his career, but the alternative was his soul. And according to Larenz, that wasn't even a choice. So there you have it, folks. Larenz Tate didn't fall off. He escaped. He chose dignity over deals, principles over profit, and Hollywood made him pay the ultimate professional price. But here's the thing. Katt Williams was right all along. The truth is finally coming out about Hollywood's hidden control system, about the rituals, the humiliation, the systematic exclusion of anyone who won't bend the knee. Sometimes the real ones pay the highest price for their integrity, but they get to keep their souls. And in a town built on selling souls, maybe that's the ultimate victory. What do you think really happened to Larenz Tate? Drop your thoughts below, and let's keep this conversation going. Because the more we talk about it, the harder it becomes for Hollywood to keep these secrets buried. End with call to action. The truth is out there, y'all. We just gotta be brave enough to see it.